Hey everyone, it's Kiwi, your Ranch Story admin and template prince. And as your template prince, I am going to make a tutorial on how to make templates in the most basic form, at least with this video. I know that for a lot of you, templates are really intimidating and confusing, and those are all completely valid because templates are intimidating and confusing, and I was like that too at first. This is probably why it took so long for us to actually add templates to the wiki. However, I think once you start to understand it a little bit more, you get the theory of it, and also, work, you try it yourself and practice. I think it'll become much easier for y'all to grasp it. And I believe in you guys. So, yeah, well, without further ado, let's kind of get started with the making a template. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to make a page for your new template, and you want to start it out with template and then a colon, and that will tell the wiki that this page is meant to be a template, and it will treat the page like a template. And then you put whatever template name that you, no space, well, you can put spaces if you want, but template name here, or whatever. In our case, we're just gonna start with, not twar, we're gonna start with test. We're gonna make a template called test. And so we're gonna hit create. And let's see. So what templates do essentially is, I think the best way to understand them is that they kind of like are just kind of repeated code. It's like repeated code. So like whatever you put in this box for template test, and then you call the template test, it'll show up. Um and I already know that sounds confusing. So let's just get into it, and we'll see. Let's say that I want to say tacos are great because they are, and I just had one. Now we've got a page called template test that says tacos are great. Cool. Now I'm going to go to my sandbox, and I'm going to call this template test. How do we call a template? So we pretty much put these two curly brackets, and then inside it we put the template name. In this case, the template name is test. And so we got this, and like magic, even though I typed this, what shows up is what we wrote on this page, which is tacos are great. So as you can see, what happens is wherever you call the template, it's replaced with the code on this page. And it really means any code. Like, let's say I want to bold the tacos. No. No, I don't want to bold the tacos. I want to say they're great and emphasize that they're great. So let's make it bold. And it shows up when we update it as tacos are great, even though we didn't really change a thing here. And that's kind of the magic of templates, is whatever you change here, you don't have to like change it again on whatever page it's called on. And so like for us, where a lot of what we use for templates are for formatting and for tables and stuff like that, um, it's great because if we want to make like a tiny adjustment on a table, we don't have to go on every single page the table's on and edit that little tiny adjustment in. We just need to edit it on the template, and the change will go throughout the wiki, and like magic, it'll just change them all. And like really, you can even say like we can completely change the content. Let's say Yoshi, right? I'm just saying minorish. And can you guess what's gonna show up? Yucky! Yep, that's what it is. Um, so this is great. This is great. That's the cool thing about templates is that you can pretty much put repeating. You can put code that we don't want to keep copy and pasting over and over. We just put in the template name and it'll show up. In terms of the things we want formatted, though, obviously, all the content on each page is different. And a lot of times, what happens is like we got stuff that we want to keep the same formatting, but the content inside it, we want it to change. So let's say, okay, let's go back to Yoshi. Yoshi, and then we say bold. Let's bold this. But let's say we don't always want it to say Yoshi. Maybe sometimes we want it to say like fucking, I don't know, Toad or Princess Peach. I don't know. So instead of having like making a template for each character, which would pretty much defeat the whole purpose of making templates, instead we introduce a variable. And what a variable is, it's this thing that we wrap around 3 curly brackets, like that. So we got this word inside these 3 curly brackets, and that word is variable because it's a variable. It doesn't have to be variable. It can be whatever, birdie, or whatever, my secret diary. But in this case, for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to say it's going to be variable. Now what happens is that when we put in, we call it a template, it's going to have this weird thing that really looks ugly. That's because we didn't define the variable. So how do we define the variable? Well, so we have the template name in the front, and then we add this straight line, which is also called a pipe, and then we type in the word that was in between these 3 curly brackets, variable, and then we define that, Yoshi. So what happens is this text that we define for the word variable will replace this. And indeed, when we do this, it says Yoshi, because we defined a variable as Yoshi. And we can define it as whatever we like. So we can say Princess Peach. And Toad are great Mario characters. We can make them as long as we like. Um, it's just we're replacing whatever this is with whatever code we have here. And also, by the way, this is also affected by wiki code. So if I also wanted to make it italicized, I can do that. Or if I want to make it a link, I can do that. Um, it's just code, essentially. Um, Now, the other thing is that you can call the same variable more than one time. So if I wanted to say, I wanted it to repeat that below it, okay, and letting it load, of course. And I want it to actually have a enter break between the two. As you can see, it's the same text repeated because it puts in every instance where we have this triple curly bracket word variable. So are you guys following so far? I hope I haven't lost you. Um, now let's say to we want to have two different variables, and we can do that. So now I've changed it to variable 1 and variable 2. Okay, now let's define variable 1 as birdie and variable 2 as kitty. Oh, I forgot to save. Oops. Yeah, always make sure you save it. Anyway, you can see wherever we put whatever text we put in for variable 1 replaces the triple curly bracket variable 1, and whatever variable or whatever text we use to define variable 2 replaces the triple curly bracket variable 2. So one more thing, and this is just specific things to our wiki. When we define our variables, we always use all caps. This is not the case for other wikis, but for Ranch Story it is. It's because that way it's just kind of easier for us to see where the variable is and where the text that isn't the variable is. So if you make a new template, make sure you adhere to that. The other thing is you can make it in like this one long line like this, and but once you get like a ton of variables, it's just going to start to look like a wall of text. So the best way, I think, the best way for it to be displayed is like this. So we kind of have a line break before each pipe, and it won't affect really kind of what the output is, but it'll just look so much better and much more cleaner and easier to use as well, when you're inputting like different kind of stuff for variables. I'm not very eloquent, as you can see, but anyway, yeah, these two things, which is kind of like the template page itself and also the variables which we put code in and text in and whatever. I would say these two are basically the building blocks of templates. And everything else comes from a really good understanding of kind of how these things work, of how to call a template and how to define a variable, and also how to write where to put variables in our template page code. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for you guys. I will make more videos in the future, hopefully. But for now, if you have any questions, of course, always at me or DM me, or you know where I am. I'm pretty much almost always on the wiki server, so yeah. Yeah. Stay safe. Drink lots of water. See you in another video.